your seats. And thank you, Mr. Calvin Burnett, for this morning's rendition of Guyana's national anthem. His Excellency, Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali, President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, His Excellency Louis Rodolfo Abinada Corona, President of the Dominican Republic, Honorable Brigadier Retired Mark Phillips, Prime Minister of Guyana, Madam Justice Yonette Cummings, Chancellor of the Judiciary, Honorable Manzoor Nadir, Speaker of the National Assembly, His Excellency Ivan Duque, former President of the Republic of Colombia, Honorable Michael Pompeo, former Secretary of State and former Director of the Central Intelligence Agency of the United States of America, members of the Cabinet and other ministers of the Government of Guyana, members of Parliament, Excellencies of the Diplomatic Corps, Mr. Anthony White, Chairman of the Guyana Energy Conference and Supply Chain Expo, heads of the Joint Services, other officials of the Government of Guyana, Ms. Kiana Wilberg, Chief Executive Officer of the Guyana Energy Conference and Supply Chain Expo, our corporate sponsors, speakers, and panelists, delegates, special invitees, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. It's great to see everyone out today, standing room only and standing room also in the overflow areas. It's really, really happy and great. Let's give ourselves a big round of applause for being able to do this. On behalf of our chairman, Mr. Anthony J. White, it is my privilege and pleasure to be the first one to welcome you to this, the fourth edition, under the thematic rubric, Connecting the Dots. No doubt, our dot has grown bigger. And Guyana's dot has grown so much bigger, allowing our own dot to grow. So if you're here for the first time, I want to give you a very, very special welcome. You're joining an elite group of people who recognize that Guyana is moving to be the center of the world. Never mind what other people tell you, who will give us some remarks in a moment, is the new CEO of the Guyana Energy Conference. When I came in this morning, I was reflecting on the fights I had with Kiana Wilberg for 3 years in the media center because she couldn't get what she wanted, couldn't get the interviews that she wanted, couldn't get in the room when she wanted. Now look, Kiana is the CEO of the Energy Conference. Please let's give her a warm welcome as she brings us our first remarks today. Kiana.
Good morning, everyone. Allow me to stand on all protocols already observed. It is my distinct pleasure to welcome you all to the fourth edition of the Guyana Energy Conference and Supply Chain Expo under the theme, Connecting the Dots, Integrating the Future. This year's edition has brought with it a number of successes. In the space of 12 months, our incredible team at the Secretariat worked along with key government agencies and private sector partners to successfully implement an energy run/walk, a conference village, a Taste of Guyana event, and an essay competition which attracted over 160 submissions from across the country. In an effort to enhance our mode of operations and deliver unparalleled value to our clients, our team completed a series of rigorous training by Sandler, one of the leading professional development companies in the world. To ensure that we continue to drive the discourse on national development and industry-leading trends, we dominated the media space with our Energy Perspectives podcast, and I am proud to say that this has been a brainchild of our chairman, Mr. Anthony J. White. Established in 2023 with ramped up production in 2024, this podcast now serves as a safe space for trusted providers of reliable insights and critical sectoral updates. Esteemed guests of this particular podcast have included President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali, former Colombian President Ivan Duque, and industry leaders from ExxonMobil, CNOOC, and SPM. Under the visionary leadership of the Secretariat's chairman, management also embarked on a digital transformation, starting with a complete overhaul of our website and the launch of 2 new apps, Energy Echo and Guyana Energy. Our team also worked assiduously towards strengthening our relationship with our sponsors and exhibitors, as they are critical partners in our success. Overall, our efforts in the past 12 months demonstrate a heightened appreciation for the profoundness of this platform, which brings together policy leaders, industry stakeholders, and civil society actors for critical discussions about our future. Guyana is indeed on an incredible growth trajectory. She is now the glorious land of investment opportunities across 26 industries. Apart from the well-known fact that Guyana is the fastest growing economy for 5 consecutive years, there are other strategic advantages of this beautiful nation, which I wish to highlight briefly. This dear land of mine is the ideal location to access global markets. It is one of the most resource-rich nations in the region. It offers highly competitive fiscal incentives for investments. Operational costs are low, and the government is also pro-business. As a testament of this, Guyana reported the highest FDI inflows in the Caribbean between 2021 and 2023. In fact, in 2023, there were over $7 billion US, representing a 64% in 2022. This positioned Guyana as the 6th largest FDI recipient country in Latin America and the Caribbean region. Together, these advantages provide fertile ground for powerful local and foreign partnerships to flourish. I therefore wish you all the very best in these 4 days of knowledge sharing and networking. Here's to another chapter of making history together. Thank you.
Thank you, Kiana. Just some housekeeping matters. One of my own slips. I need to recognize President Benedict Omara, the president of Afri-Exim Bank, who is also with us today. On some more housekeeping, I've also been asked by the Marriott Hotel, especially given the number of persons standing in the room, to remind you to take note of the exits. There are 4 exit doors on this eastern side and 4 on the west. They're all marked with green exit signs. If an emergency is declared, you're asked to move in a calm and orderly fashion through one of these exits. Our muster point today is at the end of the eastern driveway once you get outside. I'd also like to advise that we have certified first aid staff available if anyone should feel suddenly unwell, and we do have the capacity to take anyone to further medical attention if that's deemed to be required. There are a lot of people moving around today, and if you lose anything, we'd like you to check with the hotel's desk for the lost and found services, and we'll try to get your items back to you. So moving along with the program this morning, our next presenter will be appearing virtually. We are going to receive remarks from the Prime Minister of Qatar, Excellency Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdul Rahman bin Jassin Al Thani. Please.
Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, allow me first to extend my warmest greetings of the State of Qatar to our esteemed friends in the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, under the leadership of His Excellency President Mohammed Irfan Ali. It's an honor to reaffirm Qatar's unwavering commitment to strengthening the bonds between our two nations, bonds that have deepened significantly following the historic visit of His Excellency President Mohammed Irfan to Qatar and the opening of the Guyana Embassy in Doha in May 2023, as well as the reciprocal visit of His Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, the Emir of State of Qatar, to Guyana in September of the same year. These milestones not only strengthen our diplomatic bonds, but also create profound foundation for cooperation across multiple sectors, ensuring the prosperity of both peoples. We look forward to further expanding our partnership in ways that promote mutual growth and shared success. Ladies and gentlemen, we gather here at a time when the world is witnessing crises of unprecedented complexity, challenges that test the very principle of international cooperation, peace and security. The world is grappling with a mass migration, a growing energy shortage, and multiple conflicts. And the Middle East's ongoing wars disrupt trade, destabilize communities, and threaten hopes for a peaceful future. Despite the gravity of the situation, the State of Qatar continues to push for peace facilitation through diplomacy, mediation, and humanitarian aid. Distinguished guests, beyond the realm of politics and security, another vital pillar of stability is energy. Qatar has always stood firm in its commitment to ensuring the stability of global energy markets, free from political interference or conflict-driven disruptions. Even under the most challenging geopolitical conditions, Qatar has demonstrated its steadfast adherence to agreements, delivering energy supplies reliably and responsibly. Our approach has been clear: to balance the interests of both exporters and importers, ensuring energy security while upholding principles of market fairness. We also believe that each country has the right to responsibly develop its own natural resources to achieve energy security. We are grateful for the collaboration on energy developments and hope to work together further to ease global energy poverty and inequity. Ladies and gentlemen, whether in addressing political and security challenges or navigating economic uncertainties, one truth remains evident: no nation can confront those issues alone. The collective efforts of the international community are indispensable. The State of Qatar firmly believes in multilateral cooperation and actively engages in global initiatives that promote peace, security, and prosperity, without bias, without favoritism, but with unwavering commitment to justice and sustainability. Qatar believes that each state, whether large or small, has a vital role to play on the international stage. Small states like Qatar and Guyana have particular ability to strengthen the multilateral framework. It's precisely our small size that allows us to be nimble and resilient in this fast-moving digital age. Ladies and gentlemen, I extend my best wishes for the success of this conference. May it serve as a platform for meaningful dialogue and effective solutions. Qatar remains committed to working hand in hand with you all for the benefit of our countries, our people, and the future filled with hope and opportunity for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Prime Minister. As you round the venue today, you're going to say that you're doing one of two things. There are some people who you're going to say, good to see you again, because you've been seeing them every time you've come to this conference. There are people who've become pretty regular here. And then we're also attracting new people all the time, and you can say to somebody, oh, good to meet you. There are people who are becoming a really permanent part of this growing family. And one of those people who has become such a permanent part of the family is the former president of Colombia, His Excellency Ivan Duque. And so we invite him now, as a member of our family, to make remarks.
Good morning. It's a great honor for me to be back in Guyana. President Ali, such an honor to be back in this country where we have been able to do many things that are now being praised around the world. Thank you for your work. President Abinader, great to see you again. Dear friend, Secretary Pompeo, it's great to see you also. I also remember all the great times where we worked so hard to service the people of Colombia. What I want to share with you this morning, ladies and gentlemen, is this concept. The concept that green is the new black. And what do I mean by that? First of all, let me see. Technology, okay, here we go. So the first concept that I want to share with you is an evident reality of Guyana. What kind of an evident reality? Every time we come, we see changes, we see progress, and we see an evolution. And there's one picture that can tell us how this looks like, and we can move the slide, please. Is this picture. In this picture, you see the current Prime Minister of India, Prime Minister Modi, that came to Guyana in the year 2000. In that year, he was not the prominent figure that he is right now, but he came to this place because he had many traditional connections. He had the opportunity to see a country that had so many ideas, that had so many concepts to be developed, but he was basically looking at a country that was in a marginal level of development. 24 years after, we can move the slide, please. Prime Minister Modi came to Guyana, and he visited President Ali, and he saw a different Guyana. What kind of a different Guyana? A Guyana that has made progress on multiple indicators. And if we can see the next slide, I'll show this to you. Guyana, in the last 24 years, made a big advance in the Human Development Index. It looks marginal on the numbers, but it basically demonstrates that Guyana is one of the countries in Latin America that has made one of the fastest progress. In terms of the reduction of inequality, it basically reduced its inequality by more than half. In terms of energy coverage, in terms of internet access, in terms of infrastructure access, in the last 24 years, Guyana has a story that is compelling and that it's inspiring. And why is that? because Guyana has become an energy powerhouse. That concept of a country that became one of the largest per capita producers of oil has been able to transform its GDP, has been able to become the fastest growing economy in the world, and it has also demonstrated that the presence of a rising production of oil and gas can generate income, can generate savings, and can direct those investments into critical infrastructure. And for example, it has also impacted the way that we perceive the income per capita of this country. And yes, it is true that this is a figure that comes out of what the GDP is and divided by the amount of people. But the challenge that Guyana has is to be able and capable of use the richness of the underground to defeat the poverty on the ground. This is just an image that we have seen throughout the whole world on how Guyana grew at levels that no other economy in the planet did in 2024. I had the privilege of being here just 7 months ago. I was with the team of ExxonMobil visiting one of the extraction sites offshore, seeing the professional team, seeing all the eagerness of making this country a powerhouse. But the question is, for what purpose? And President Ali, in our conversations, we've been able to clearly define that that richness has to be given back to the people, not to be dependent on oil and gas, but to use oil and gas to make Guyana an economy of knowledge, of services, and also of food security. Here, in that image that I just showed you, we had two big announcements that were made by President Ali. One was the Demerara West Hospital, and then you also see the new maternity hospital in Guyana. So if there's anyone that doubts that oil and gas well used can make a big difference in the world, here you have your answer. Guyana is making that progress. But the story that I also want to share with you is that I've been having long conversation with President Ali for the last years. And he said, yes, we are an energy powerhouse, but we are something even more important than that. We're a biodiversity powerhouse. We are a carbon sinking unit for the world. And Guyana has to demonstrate to the world that that green capacity that is almost at the same level of oil and gas should be not only praised, but should mobilize investment and should be seen as an engine of social transformation for Guyana. That's why I consider Guyana is a green superpower. And why is it a biodiversity superpower, ladies and gentlemen? Because almost 90% of the territory of this country is forest that are still there in a world that is seeing deforestation grow at levels that we had never seen before. And basically, Guyana is a country with zero deforestation or marginal deforestation. So it is an example of how protecting nature makes a difference. Not only because of this, not only because it is a source of fresh water, but also because in terms of species, and I want to share this with you, this country just in trees and also in the capacity that it has in all its land, it's able to capture 20 billion tons of carbon. Something that few countries in the world can do, and is done on a permanent basis. So if we don't have that 90% and the conviction of the government of making Guyana a biodiversity superpower, Guyana will be not part of the solution to the climate crisis, but will be part of the problem. So this leadership has to be recognized and has to bring investment. And something that is also very important, more than 8,000 species of plants in this country, many that are unique to the Guyanese landscape. And ladies and gentlemen, just look at this. More than 700 species of birds in this country. More than 100 are unique from the Guyanese landscape. More than 800 types of fishes, either in freshwater or in the ocean. And also, as you can see here, more than 150 species of reptiles, out of which 50 are unique from the Guyanese landscape. That demonstrates that this country is a superpower of biodiversity, where we have more than 250 species of mammals. And as you can also see in my back, in terms of amphibians, this is also one of the most important places in the world. So how can we make a difference? Why are we today in an energy conference speaking about this? It's because energy and energy investment in Guyana is not contradictory with this vision. And that's why by July this year, with the leadership of President Ali, we're launching the Global Biodiversity Alliance here in Guyana. And what do we expect, ladies and gentlemen? We're not expecting to come here with lyrical declarations. We're not expecting to bring people just to have great photo ops and visit the landscapes. We have very clear KPIs in which Guyana wants to take an international leadership. One of those is something that President Ali emphasized last year when we celebrated the Concordia Amazon Summit. Guyana wants to duplicate its protected areas by December 2025 and has also committed to reach 30% protected areas before 2030. So when many leaders in the world are backing away from clear environmental objectives, Guyana is doubling down its bet. And this has to be supported internationally. It is also aimed to work with indigenous communities for ecosystemical services. It is also aimed to have the payment for communities that are involved in restoration and conservation. So it's a big bet. Now the question is, how can a country like Guyana, that is protecting 90% of its territory, that is reaching 30 before 30, that has great amount of its land in indigenous communities, able to monetize that saving for the planet? And that takes me to the financial concept of what we want to achieve. We want to be able to have the concept of a gross biodiversity product. We have never accounted in the way we measure competitiveness on how important is the natural capital of a country. But Guyana has made that commitment. So in the Global Biodiversity Alliance, we're calling academics and scientists, economists, to help us define what is the value of all the biodiversity that is concentrated in a country, and how the protection of that is also part of the competitiveness. Because when people ask me, that is impossible, Mr. Duque, I tend to respond one thing. When you have 90% of a country in forest, when you are doubling its protected areas, when you have all this multiplicity of species, you're also a country that is sinking carbon of around 20 billion tons. Then the question is, a dollar invested in Guyana is a much greener dollar than invested somewhere else. And that is competitiveness, ladies and gentlemen. What we expect in terms of financial products to be addressed in that conference is we expect with the Guyanese government to build a biodiversity taxonomy that has all the sectoral KPIs and sectoral objectives to be shared with the international markets. That taxonomy will allow investors to understand when you make a green investment in Guyana, you're going to reach a specific objectives. That's why we also talk about bonds. If we have the taxonomy, and we're following the Colombian experience of 2021, we had the taxonomy, we announced it at the New York Stock Exchange, and then we were able to launch our bonds. our bonds had a 7% greenium. So imagine if Guyana can issue bonds for the international markets connected to its environmental and biodiversity objectives, and it can have discounts that allow to allocate in a smarter way the resources that are in the world in terms of liquidity for ESG. That makes an impact. Also, eventually, debt swaps. That's not the case of Guyana today. But the concept of debt swaps can also be applicable in Amazonic countries and countries that are rich in biodiversity but are highly indebted. We believe that guarantees for local governments can also make a difference, but also for corporations, even for municipalities, and also for the national government when there are specific investments to be done in biodiversity. The impact investment portfolio for the private sector. We can have companies that are located in Guyana that in their portfolio of activities can deploy capital to protect, to restore ecosystems, to develop bio-industries, to develop biotourism, and be able to have disbursements on those impact as the KPIs are met. And last but not least, this is something that we also want to present in the Global Biodiversity Alliance, and it's to be able to issue the first biodiversity credit from Guyana it's available for investors so that every penny invested will be deployed to the conservation of that multiplicity of species, something that will make Guyana, in terms of environmental competitiveness, unique. So the green economy of Guyana is also blooming. We already saw what has happened in the energy sector, but we want to make Guyana the leader of the green economy in LATAM. We want Guyana to demonstrate that black and green can go together, that they are not antagonic, that both can have a positive impact. And there are four main areas. One is environmental and ecosystemical services with communities around the country. Restoration, that is also connected to sinking carbon, biotourism, and bioservices. If in these four areas, Guyana turns into an attractive place, Guyana will become a circular economy referral for the rest of the region. And how is this alliance going to be built? We want to have heads of state, and the President Ali has invited many of them to be here between the 23rd and the 25th of July. We expect to have CEOs and private sector leaders. We expect to have multilateral organizations, academia, and scientific organizations. This alliance is going to build to be a lasting project, and it's aimed to gather on an annual basis all these partners to demonstrate that we can make a case in front of the most advanced economies in the world where they can invest part of their ESG liquidity, and that can be also used through credits, either carbon credits or biodiversity credits, where they can also offset many of their emissions investing in these biodiversity superpowers. So, ladies and gentlemen, my invitation today is that when we see Guyana, we see this place where transformation has been driven so far by this energy revolution, but is going to have its best partner with the green revolution that President Ali and the Guyanese government is promoting. So when black and green meet and match, the result that we're going to get is sustainable development. And that's why we invite you all to be here in July to see those opportunities of a smart biodiversity finance and to see the green economy of Guyana as a unique competitiveness opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, President Duque. And now we move from an old friend, family, to a new friend here at the conference, His Excellency, the President of the Dominican Republic, President Luis Abinader. Your Excellency.
Dear friend Mohamed Irfan Ali, President of Guyana, Prime Minister Brigadier Mark Phillips, my dear friend Ivan Duque, a special friend of the Dominican Republic and a fighter for democracy, Mike Pompeo, and all the cabinet, members of the cabinet of Guyana, businessmen, friends, people and friends of the press. Ladies and gentlemen, first and foremost, allow me to extend my sincere gratitude for this invitation from our esteemed friend and brother, President Mohamed Irfan Ali, of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. It is truly an honor to be here today with all of you. When I present indicators, social economic indicators of the Dominican Republic, I say, this is the biggest growth in Latin America. And then they say, what about Guyana? And they say, that's a unique case. Being in Guyana feels like being at home. And it is always an opportunity for collaboration, hard work, and genuine friendship. Ladies and gentlemen, our America is a unique continent. Proof of this is that it is the only one in the world where both hemispheres coexist simultaneously, stretching from the Arctic region to the Antarctica. Moreover, it holds 30% of the planet's freshwater reserve, and with its 42 million square kilometers, it is the second largest continent, surpassed only by Asia. However, our continent's most valuable asset is its people. In 1492, Europeans arrived on a continent already inhabited by people of millenary cultures. Over the centuries, the American continent has been the destination of the largest migratory influx in history, giving rise to a unique identity. Today, our hemisphere is the greatest melting pot of races and cultures, enriching the heritage of humanity. Ladies and gentlemen, a more interconnected world must translate into greater solidarity among nations as a means to reduce exclusion and poverty. Thus, President Ali, it is both timely and essential to strengthen the ties between Dominican Republic and the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, our dear Guyana. In a global context marked by uncertainty, there has never been a more critical time to join forces, to reaffirm our bonds, and to move forward together toward the future of shared development and prosperity. The electricity sector in the Dominican Republic is still in a phase of consolidation, and we are working diligently to enhance our distribution and transmission networks, as well as commercialization, alongside a major commitment to a modern and diversified generation park. For instance, natural gas generation already accounts for 43% of our country's total. And this year, the first of 4 units, or 417 megawatts, will begin operation. The rest, 3, will be completed before 2028. 3 of these units are part of the Grand Manzanillo project in the north of the island, which also includes a terminal for receiving, storing, and distributing liquefied natural gas, with investment fully undertaken by Dominican entrepreneurs. With a strong government support, the private sector is preparing to inaugurate additional projects that will contribute 1,000 megawatts to the already 1,100 megawatts in photovoltaic parks across the country. Aeolic energy is also progressing in the Dominican Republic with an installed capacity of 270 megawatts and several additional projects under development, even receiving a carbon certification from the United Nations. On Saturday, February 8th, 2025, 2 weeks ago, at 1:38 p.m., for the first time, renewable energy sources contributed 1,222 megawatts to the national grid, surpassing thermal generation by 0.85%, which at that moment provided 1,201 megawatts, supplying 100% of the demand at that hour. Finally, I must highlight that coal still adds stability to the system and currently accounts for 28% of the energy generated, while petroleum derivatives contribute approximately to 13% to the total system. The total nominal installed capacity of all combined sources, renewable and non-renewable, in our country amounts to about 6,500 megawatts, with a peak demand of approximately 3,900 megawatts and an annual growth rate of 7%, requiring the addition of nearly 400 megawatts of new generation capacity each year to adequately meet demand and maintain a comfortable reserve margin. In summary, over the past 3 years, the electricity sector has led, second only to tourism, in attracting foreign direct investment to the Dominican Republic at an unprecedented achievement that signaled the vigorous pace of change and growth in the energy sector and the confidence of investors in our country. President Ali, it is within this context that I would like to examine the progress made on the Memorandum of Understanding we signed during your courteous visit in Dominican Republic in August 2023. As you are aware, this memorandum pertained to oil exploration and exploitation, the establishment of an oil refinery and a petrochemical plant for fertilizer production, food security for our nations, and the exchange of trade information and data to accelerate our mutual development. Regarding oil exploration, following extensive studies and exchange between our commissions, the Dominican Republic is now ready to finalize agreement on the location of the Berbice block, which will soon complete with the Ministry of the Environment, hoping to replicate the success story of your blessed nation. With regard to workforce training, the Ministry of Labor of Guyana and the Dominican Institute for Technical and Vocational Training, Infotep, have agreed to the operational framework for training highly skilled technicians for industries and businesses. This platform will enable Guyana to establish a specialized entity for training trainers in a sustainable, cost-effective, and high-quality manner, which has been very successful in our country. In the field of agriculture, Association of Dominican Agribusiness Entrepreneurs are exchanging projects with their Guyanese counterparts to establish enterprises using advanced technologies for essential crops in high demands. The goal is to leverage Guyana's vast lands and enviable productive conditions, ensuring high yield profitability and achieving the food security that we all aspire for our countries. Moreover, as we agree, we have already completed a feasibility study for establishing a petrochemical fertilizer plant, primarily for urea, at a time when global supply remains restricted and this product continues to play a crucial role in global food security. This plant will meet the needs of both nations, solidifying our food security efforts. Yesterday, we had a very good conversation on that project. Regarding the oil refinery, this represents a major financial and industrial decision that requires long-term strategic planning. To this end, we are analyzing various alternatives, which we will soon present to our Guyanese counterparts. In the coming months, we will meet to make the final decision. Also, I would also like to highlight, President Ali, that thanks to your dedication and facilitation, the Guyana-Dominican Chamber of Commerce is already operational in both nations, fostering mutual understanding and identifying investment opportunity that will undoubtedly open a new chapter in our shared history. Ladies and gentlemen, The Dominican Republic aspires to secure its position as the logistic hub of the Atlantic Ocean. We are an economy that grows at a steady 5%, a result of social peace recognized and valued by all political organizations, the private sector, and the society as a whole. In the field of education, we have 56 higher education institutions, most of which hold international accreditation. Year after year, we break records in foreign direct investment, and our export market is at its historical strongest level ever. We have 12 international seaports, including a multimodal facility and 8 international airports. Our strategic geographic location places us at the crossroads of major global economic centers. Our financial system is solid, and our economic outlook remains strong. Therefore, the Dominican Republic is open to investors from around the world at all levels, providing opportunities, legal security, and economic profitability. That said, distinguished friends, while we highlight this notable achievement for our country, we do so fully aware that our host nation, Guyana, has recorded the highest economic rate over the past 4 years, with 38.5%, an exceptional milestone, driven by significant oil and gas discoveries in its exclusive economic zone and the prudent management of these resources. I trust that this growth will be sustained and will serve as a catalyst for a broader development, both for Guyana and also for the entire region. Guyana is fortunate to have a visionary and dynamic leader like Mohamed Irfan Ali. His vision, we have discussed on multiple occasions, and with no doubts, the right path is the right path toward achievement of an integral development for Guyana and its people. President Ali, esteemed participant in this energy conference and supply chain expo, we most reflect on the fact that thanks to renewable and non-renewable resources, including minerals, oil, and gas, humanity has reached unprecedented levels of development. Yet, nations often classified as underdeveloped continue to be excluded from the transformation and value-added processes as raw materials are extracted from their territories without their participation in the global value chain. However, this paradigm must change now and for good. Your vision for Guyana aligns with our own. Our nation must not only supply raw materials, but also play a central role in the industry that manufactures high-value technological goods, such as semiconductors and integrated circuits, crucial components in the production of practically all modern goods. The time has come for us to actively participate in innovation, in the development of 5G and 6G technologies and artificial intelligence. President Ali, before concluding, allow me to commend the Cooperative Republic of Guyana for its unwavering commitment to peace, for the struggle to preserve its national integrity, and for its bravery in defending the immense wealth of its territory and exclusive economic zones. The Constitution of the Dominican Republic defines us as a social and democratic state governed by the rule of law, organized under the principle of unity and respect for human dignity. Faithful to these principles, we reaffirm our respect for the integrity of nations, both in terms of their territory and exclusive economic zones, in accordance with the law of the seas as promoted by the UN, as well as the recognition of their political and economic sovereignty. These shared principles unite us, dear Guyanese brothers and sisters. We recognize your commitment to democracy and social progress. Therefore, you have our support, that of the Dominican people, of the Americas, and the international community. The Dominican Republic will always stand as an ally and as a friend. May God bless the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, President Abinader. So this morning, I started rehearsing all my compliments that I was going to pay to the President before I introduced him. And I didn't realize that our visiting speakers from Latin America were going to outdo me. And now they haven't left too many things for me to say, so I'm trying to make some stuff up now. I don't like cliches, but people who peddle cliches say that everything rises and falls on leadership. And if we're thinking of President Ali, that's true. You can have a number of things come together. You could have resources come together. You could have favorable environment. But then if you had the wrong leadership, you could not leverage those things for benefit. In Guyana, that we are able to live in a time when those things come together with the right kind of visionary leadership. And we see those benefits every day. Our friends see them. You have to not be able to see to not see them. And with that in mind, in that context, it's my delight to invite His Excellency Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali, President of the Republic of Guyana. Please stand with me and welcome President Ali.
Thank you. Thank you very kindly. Please have your seats. I want to stand on existing protocols, but I have to address some great friends of Guyana. All of you in this room who are visiting, I'm sure, are good friends of Guyana. And with this conference, we hope that you will become better partners with your counterparts here in Guyana as we connect the dots. His Excellency, the President of the Dominican Republic, President Abinader, former President Duque, former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, all the leaders here, Mr. Tony White, members of Cabinet, our Chancellor, the Speaker of the National Assembly, distinguished leaders of the private sector, members of the diplomatic community, in no order, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Guyana. My dear friend, Professor Rama, the President of Afri-Exim Bank, and they're doing tremendous work here in the region. I also want to welcome you and to say how very pleased we are to have you here with us this morning. A lot has already been said, but one of the important things about the world today is the growth of partnership or the lack of partnership. For us in Guyana, we believe strongly that the only road to success is one that is built on partnership, one that is supported by multilateralism, and one that is supported by shared values and shared principles that govern the way we do business and that govern the way policies are formulated and implemented. One of the most important things in the building of relationship between countries and the building of relationship between businesses is trust. We must be able to trust each other. Trust is a foundational pillar through which partnership is built and through which we succeed. But trust must not see winners or a winner. Trust must see joint ownership and joint victory. In life, if we are only looking to win all the time, we will not be able to enjoy the fullness of that victory. And here in Guyana, we want our partners to win with us. And that is why the tremendous bond that is developing between Guyana and many other countries. Today, I want to point out the enormous bond that is developing between Guyana and the DR, one that transcends energy, one that speaks about developing our tourism as a joint product to be marketed internationally, one that sees the opportunity of integrating our economy, integrating our people, and building a foundation through which generations after generation would enjoy the work of the partnership we are building today. A simple example is in our Guyana Digital School that we are building, having a platform for DR so that their students can have access to Guyana Digital School, doing English studies and other studies that is relevant to the DR, and similarly, Guyana benefiting. So this is what defines partnership. Partnership is not about the short-term victories. Partnership is creating an enabling environment, creating lasting policies that will last generation after generation and will bring benefit for generation after generation. We are interested in long-term relationship and long-term partnership here in Guyana. That is what excites us. Policies out. We're doing this by important strategic investment. We're doing this by investment that straddles various sectors, all of which are critical to the development of our economy. Take, for example, the $120 million investment in the Guyana Technical Training College. That would not only train the best to function in the oil and gas sector, not only train the best in fabrication and other support services for the oil and gas sector, but a center that would eventually be the home for global training, especially in deep sea exploration and operation. That is the type of center we are building. So when we spoke with our partners, we said to them, we are not just interested in building a technical training center. We want a technical training center that is the best in the world, that offers the best capability and opportunity, because we want it to be the global hub for deep sea training. And we have been able to get that, and we are building that out to serve the rest of the world. And that is the plan. Building the best and bringing the best. That is what is going to leapfrog us into the future. An important pillar of our development is the hospitality industry, building out our tourism sector. And you can see all around Guyana, new hotels, new resorts, new restaurants, new facilities are being built. But we have to service those facilities. We have to ensure that we train our people to work in those facilities. And what we're doing, we're investing in a state-of-the-art hospitality training center in Guyana alongside the Guyana Technical Training College. We recognize that we have to give our small population the optimal opportunity to utilize their productive time to earn. And this is a challenge because I believe that 8 hours every day is normal working environment. But if you want to give yourself an additional chance of success, try 14 hours. But how do you incentivize that? How do you tell a small population, but a young population, that work can be incentivized in today's world? We started by now giving special tax concessions on second job, so that more earning from a second job can remain in your pocket and can go towards investment or savings. Very key. Having the right policy environment. You know, vision and ideas without work is dead. And the best of vision is dead without work and ideas, without work and commitment. So, in doing this, we realize too that we can't just tell the population, maximize your productive time without giving them the opportunity. So with Canada and Qatar, we launched the upskilling project, where we want to upskill people into the new areas of job creation. We started by saying we want 1,000 young people. Today, we have proven this strategy right to the extent that is now being embraced by all of CARICOM, and we have been able to work with CARICOM on a CARICOM upskilling program. And everything we do in Guyana, I said from day one, we said as a government, everything that we do must lead to regional prosperity. And I can demonstrate to you that every single initiative we have pursued, we have involved the region in those initiatives and make it available for the region. So today, we're investing in upskilling, where there are enormous job opportunities in the global market. But more importantly, all those persons who are on the upskilling platform, we are guaranteeing them that on completion of the course, they will be linked directly to jobs, because this program is powered by the Toronto Metropolitan University. So we are finding not only partnership, but the best partnership that can advance our development. Recently, we are completing 2 new nursing schools because we want to train all the nurses that we require, and we have a shortage. But we also want to be a global trainer of nurses. But we realize that we need to attract a partner that would help us to be a global player in this area. And that is why we're discussing with Northwell from the US, a partnership through which our nursing program and their nursing program will coexist, giving the international certification so we can be a global trainer for nursing. And we're addressing other areas in the healthcare sector also. Medical services is an important part of what we think is essential in training the human capital. I can give you many other examples. We have made University of Guyana education free here in Guyana, beginning this. In the last year alone, we have given more scholarships than maybe 30, 40 years combined in the history of our country. In every field. We launched a program where we're sitting Gill in UK. For a matter of fact, We were so strong in launching this program that we made Sittinggill develop a special program for us and brought back welding and fabrication on their curriculum. And we have over 2,000 Guyanese now getting that certification and advancing to a stage where they can function for Exxon subcontractors and providing direct services. So we are not only announcing policies, we are investing in realizing the potential of those policies. We're investing in mainstreaming those policies in national development. And this takes me to another very important subject area. We have a young population. We have a huge diaspora. One of the important things for such a population, diaspora, and for the development trajectory of Guyana is healthcare. How do we ensure that we build a world-class healthcare to support a world-class human capital? And that is key. And if you see what we are doing for healthcare, it is totally transformative. I believe that by the time we get to 2030, we're going to have one of the best healthcare systems globally. And why do I say this? I don't say this lightly. I say this because of what we're doing. We are working with Mount Sinai, and I'm very pleased to say that with the support of HES, the partnership with Mount Sinai has now been extended for a further 3 years, and we are working with Northwell, and we are also working with the best institutions out of India. And what are we doing? We're not only working on doing studies and doing gap analysis and building out the infrastructure. Whilst we're doing that, we are now integrating our structures between these three hospitals in which we can learn and exchange technology, ideas, and services. Take, for example, in the area of pathology, it used to take us 3 months to get the results from tests. Today, 3 days. 3 months to 3 days. That is the transformation I'm talking about. Today, we are the leader in this region in rolling out telemedicine to the extent that we are going to be a model in telemedicine. These are real changes that are taking place. But when we speak about a world-class healthcare system, we understand that we don't have the specialty skills in abundance here, that we have to be part of a system. We have to be part of a system. So we have said to our international partners, let us create a platform of specialists, where we can have your specialists and our specialists available 24/7 on a platform. And let us integrate that platform with whatever you want to say, general practitioners or junior doctors or whatever, throughout the healthcare system. But that talent is available 24/7 to support health services from a common platform. And we are about to roll out that. In some cases, we have already rolled it out. So that's how we're going to integrate this human capital and have that cross-fertilization that is critically needed to build efficiency and change the way we approach healthcare in the country. Outside of that, so we have one, the integration with global partners. Secondly, integrated services. So the concept of emergency medicine is changing globally. We know it. As you're going into a hospital, the first thing that greets you is emergency care, but they are now what you call modular units that are integrated with emergency services so that you can be in the hinterland. But those units allow you to get professional care from the best doctors from the time you enter that unit, even if you have a medics who is running that unit, because they're connected to a national system that offers a service to support that medical practitioner. We're also working on e-health, a big part of the strategy. And that will be supported or powered by AI, the health information management system, the patient care management information system, making this entire system more accountable, more efficient, more transparent. That is key. And for any leader, all of us, any leader today, what is on your mind? How are we going to keep up with AI and digitization? Otherwise, we're going to be left behind, and left behind for a very, very long time. Everything we invest in, everything we do now must take into consideration that it has to be applicable and workable in a global environment in which digitization and AI will be the order of the day. If we are not building on that platform, then we are building ourselves out of competition. So in the healthcare system, we are already taking aggressive steps to ensure that AI is an important aspect of healthcare delivery. Stents will be something that AI and robotics will do like 1, 2, 3, just supported by the human element on a platform. That is where the world is going, and that is where we have to go. So these are important aspects. And then establishment of standards. Minimum, we saw my friend, former President Duque gave you the indicators, Human Development Index. We are going to establish minimum healthcare standards that every single citizen will enjoy. Whether it's private practice, public practice, there is one baseline standard that every single citizen must enjoy. But outside of this, we understand very clearly that healthcare is also business. Healthcare brings with it tremendous economic opportunity, tremendous investment opportunity. That is why Guyana and Barbados, we are partnering with the EU and Rwanda to start the process of the establishment of a biopharma industry here in Guyana, focusing on pharmaceuticals, focusing on vaccines, and focusing on research and development. We want to be the regional hub for the biopharma industry and also research and development in healthcare and in the future. That is our goal. To do this, we have already commenced the process of updating legislations, bringing into operation new legislations that would support this. Now, we have already committed ourselves to the development of an oncology center here for treatment and for research. So that is ongoing. The development of a biobank for the Caribbean, the development of the Caribbean Genomics Bank, where gene samples will be stored and used for research. To develop research in AI, Guyana has partnered with Harvard University to develop AI to read malaria slides, and guess what? It is already operational, where we're using AI now to read malaria slides. Develop the manufacturing of pharmaceuticals and vaccines, and of course, as President Duque said, the rich biodiversity of our country. We want to have an environment in which we enable research in biodiversity to innovate new products. Now, the development of partnership with global companies, that is an important part of the healthcare system. I can go and outline the strategies in developing a world-class education system where we are partnering with the best institutions globally to give our children, the next generation of Guyanese, the best opportunity in every single area. But important to all of this is infrastructure. We can achieve very little without infrastructure. You know, the simplistic mind will present to you, can the people eat a road? The simplistic mind will present to you, can the people eat a highway? But we will go nowhere if we do not have the infrastructure to back the development of the country. We will be stuck right where we are. Infrastructure is not an option for our development. Infrastructure is a necessity. Infrastructure is the known part of the equation to take us forward. And we don't really need anyone to be a rocket scientist to understand this concept of the importance of infrastructure. It is key and critical. You just heard from DR, the president of DR, speak about their spinning reserve in energy. Almost double their peak demand, the spinning reserve in energy. That is how you build sustainability. That is how you build resilience. That is how you build to withstand shock in the system. You have to have these safeguards. So infrastructure, but not just infrastructure. Infrastructure that support growth and open up new opportunity. The integrated regional infrastructure. How do we leverage our natural assets? How do we use infrastructure to increase productivity, expand markets? And how do we build and expand a relationship that is also security related with infrastructure? These are some of the guiding things that we think about when we look at infrastructure expansion. So our infrastructure is about connecting the Guyana Shield. It's about connecting Guyana with Brazil. It's about regional integration. It is about opening up the market of Guyana beyond the geographic space of Guyana. It is working with our partners to integrate our joint economies through infrastructure expansion and connectivity. And to do this, some of the big projects in the future, and not the long future or short future, the immediate future, will be the deepwater port that is not only important for Guyana, but important for Brazil, important for the DR, important for CARICOM, and the building out of a food hub infrastructure that will be the food capital of the region. To support this, we must have investment, continuous investment in energy and energy opportunity. Only this week, I was pleased that we are now moving forward with the US government, and also because this investment will support both the United States and it will support Guyana. It will add to regional security. It will add also to the energy sustainability of Guyana. And what am I speaking about? In the first 2 years alone, it is anticipated that this investment would see at a minimum $300 million being invested. And it is a strategic investment that goes beyond commercial relationship. And that is where US company Curlew is proposing by the end of 2025 to process 30,000 barrels of oil out of Guyana that will see the refined products coming into Guyana at cheaper prices, and that will see us creating a hub for the rest of the region here in Guyana. Initially to fulfill national demand, and then expanding that to service northern Brazil and to service the rest of the region. These are the type of investment that we are pursuing. Transformative investment. Investment that goes beyond economics and financial returns. Investment that strengthens security, integrates security, expand partnership. We want to expand partnership. That is how sustainable development is going to be achieved. So we're in the process now of working out the details and finalizing this so that our people here in Guyana and the region can benefit from such a facility. Imagine us creating a refined product hub for the region, for northern Brazil here. Imagine the type of other logistical and connecting the dots, all the other value creation and opportunity that it will bring. Tankers moving between Guyana, the expansion of the marine business. So you'll have opportunity for the marine economy to further develop and expand. Transport and logistics, thousands of jobs will be created. When you look at the numbers, in a 7-year period, you're talking about close to $7 billion of refined fuels imported here in Guyana alone. $7 billion when you look at the numbers in the next 7 years. And then when you look at the numbers in CARICOM, what CARICOM internal consumption is, that's about $10 billion annually. $10 billion annually. I'm not even talking Northern Brazil as yet. So this is a type of thinking. In power, we are now working with the Wales development to have not the first power plant completed, because its pace of development is so intense that we know that immediately we have to move forward with a second power plant to fuel the growth and expansion that is taking place here. So we'll have 2 power plants there. And then we have to look at how we use the remaining gas from that pipeline to sustain national security in important areas. The development of a manufacturing and commercial hub that will surround that in Wales development. But that story continues. Because the biggest story is the larger gas project that we are working on and that we will launch very soon. And that project is linked to the Barbies port. It is the Barbies development, and that will bring with it massive opportunities, some of which I'll speak about shortly. And when you speak about the maritime industry and what the maritime industry can do for us, in the course of this week, I said to Exxon from the first day, the people of Guyana afforded me the opportunity in this job. The first day, we had a meeting with Alistair and Exxon and his team. And I said to him, we must leverage in a maximum way the opportunities for Guyanese. And I didn't say only the big businesses, for every single Guyanese to participate in this growth story. And we have worked over the last 4 years, and I think that we're at a place now, because we are working with the supply vessels, because that was a big area, right? Each supply vessel maybe is, $40 million investment around. But when we have more than $1 trillion, Guyanese dollars in liquidity in the banking system, that tells you that there is opportunity. There is opportunity for the ordinary man. And I think the meeting is going on now. I've asked the bankers to come together and to change the banking mentality. I've asked the Minister of Finance to examine the laws, because investment banking has to be the way in which we mobilize capital from every single citizen to be part of these opportunities. Because if this opportunity can give you a 14% or a 10% or a 12% return on your saving, or a percentage of your saving, it is better than a less than 1% interest rate. And then this is the opportunity that may allow us to mobilize diaspora capital in the second phase and regional capital in the third phase. Because these are the services that are critically needed continuously to support the exploration and the operation of the ships offshore. It's a different business offshore than onshore. And we have to look at, it's a more expensive opportunity when you have deep water drilling. But we have to look at how we mobilize the capital and give every single citizen the opportunity by putting caps sometime. So if you have a citizen with 2,000 US in the bank, they can have an opportunity to say, I want to put $1,000 into this venture with long-term contract. So every citizen, regardless of where you are, can have an opportunity to be part of the system. That is what is key for us. How do we create this opportunity? And as I said, when we're speaking about a world-class system and a world-class economy, when you look at the maritime sector, it's amazing what is happening there. You know, parents will teach their children, when you grow up, I want you to be a lawyer, a doctor. I want you to be like Mike, Secretary of State. I want you to be something in that line. But what is happening in the world? Where are the opportunities? In the maritime sector, there's tremendous shortage of professionals. For a matter of fact, the 2021 report from Baltic International Maritime Council and the International Chamber of Shipping forecasts a need for an additional 90,000 mariners by 2026. 90,000. So, here lies the opportunity. We must now work with all the global operators that are here, not only to give scholarship for Guyanese to pursue study in this area, but to work together to build a world-class infrastructure to train global mariners here so that we can enter that space, that business space, and develop and open up opportunities in the maritime economy. These are the important things. These are the opportunities of the future. These are the opportunities that we have to embrace. We can't be static in our thinking. We have to be able to open ourselves to the competition and challenges and the opportunities that the world gives to us. Therefore, AI and digitization and technology must and will be the strategic bedrock on which our future is built. We have already incorporated digitization and AI in many of the things that we are doing. But importantly, in enhancing transparency, removing bureaucracy, removing human biases, creating greater efficiency in government services and systems, technology and AI help us to advance this at a rapid pace. And we have taken the decision here in Guyana that we are not going to challenge this evolution. We're embracing this evolution, we're going to invest in this, and we're going to ensure that we are part of this development and not a country that can be left behind. So AI is going to be embedded in national life. AI and digitization is going to be that investment that will shorten the gap between us and the rest of the world. It is that investment that will make us competitive. And there are some main components of the AI strategy: leadership and vision, a well-defined strategy, financing and investment, mobilizing capital, including all segments of the population, building talent, creating a skilled workforce, having regulations that are ethical, that protect data privacy, that ensures the responsible deployment, clear policy guidelines for AI governance. We have to ensure that there's sector-specific standards, and all of these things are being worked on. We have to create an innovation ecosystem. We have to create a country in which innovation is incentivized and innovation is supported from the national level and from the government. And that is an important part of this strategy. We have to be able to develop our skills to compute, data openness. And then here in Guyana, we have to get this generation to be integrated in an AI space. That is why the Ministry of Education has been tasked to launch the Guyana Digital School. The Guyana Digital School is not an online platform for delivery of education. It goes beyond that. The school will have an AI module where every student in every subject area, will be evaluated. And AI will generate specific lessons to target specific weaknesses of every student and send that lesson to the student so it can enable them to work on their weaknesses. That is how far we are going. That is how far we're going. Innovative. We are not shortcutting it. We are not shortcutting it. We are going for the best in class. That is the strategy that we are applying. And this requires partnership. AI in education, AI in national security and defense. We are seeing more and more, especially in small populations like ours, with extensive borders and unstable neighbor. We have to ensure that we deploy in a maximum way, in an optimal way, everything that is available to protect, as President Abinader said, to protect our not only territorial integrity, but our exclusive economic zone, all of it, which is part of our territory, all the assets. So AI is going to be an important aspect of what we do. I forgot to tell you that very soon we'll be manufacturing all the vaccines for livestock here in Guyana. All our vaccine need for livestock we'll be manufacturing in Guyana. And then we're going to move shortly after that to supply the rest of the region. And this is not government-led, this is private sector-led. That is what we are doing. Real possibilities, real investment. AI in agriculture and food security, in water quality control, in crime analysis, in traffic and traffic management. All of these are areas that we have already deployed AI, and we are building on that platform. So we want to ensure that the environment we create foster innovation, improve effectiveness, improve efficiency and transparency, remove bureaucracy, optimally utilize our human asset, and one important area that with power, with energy coming, it opens up the opportunity for data centers for us. And President Abinader, we have already opened up some discussions here, and we already have some important strategic partners. Just imagine, we have to tell Exxon that they have to move all their data storage globally to Guyana, so that we have, maybe put that in local content, so that we have to ensure that we invest in the infrastructure and then drive business to the infrastructure. Listen, as President Trump will say, we have to put our priorities first here too. All right? So partnership is important. Important to this development is economic diversification. And our good friend, former President Duque, spoke extensively on one of the areas. Environmental and biodiversity services. I'm not going to repeat that, it was well covered. Biomedical and pharmaceuticals, transport and logistics, technological services, investing in improving the efficiency of government, local content, expanding local content, looking at ways in which we can have more financial services generated here. The financial services industry must be deepened and widened here so that it can become an important aspect of the diversification plan. Food security, tourism, health and education, building and investing in startups. All of these are important part of the immediate and short-term strategy in consolidating and expanding development here. When we speak about regional integration, we also are very aware of the fact that our prosperity must be linked to other prosperity. So the gas from Suriname and the gas from Guyana can now actualize important other opportunities with a bauxite reserve from Guyana and bauxite reserve from Suriname. And how do we integrate this? How do we build an infrastructure to actualize this and support this? These are important aspects of what we want to achieve. We want to create a model of building consortiums. Building consortiums by bringing together first all the local players, private sector, regional players and private sector, and international players and private sector. The consortiums must be built through a model of mobilizing capital, mobilizing technology, mobilizing markets, and having shared risk. Consortium allows for shared risk. And one of the important things about financing is de-risking the opportunity. So we have seen the success of consortiums here already. Whether it's a consortium built to supply for catering services to the FPSO, consortium built for a new shore-based facility, consortium built to ensure food sustainability for corn, soya, beans, a consortium that we are now working with And let me say this now, the opportunities are immense. We are importing more than 60 million hatching eggs annually. And you see the volatility of this market with what is happening with bird flu and the global supply. We're going to find ourselves in a big crisis in this region if Georgia and Miami is affected. Because poultry is one of the most common source of protein here in the region. So we have set ourselves a target, working with the DR on building out this industry in 4 years, where we can produce all our hatching eggs here in Guyana and be part of the regional supply chain. Then we are integrating that into corn and soya, where we're going to produce all our corn and soya, so we produce all our feed here, and also then move the feed on beyond the region to regional supply. These are the plans, and this is how the diversification story would unfold itself before us. So I've mentioned some of the success stories. Local content. We know the local content register now comprise of over 1,000 companies. The local content secretariat support approximately $743 million of business opportunity annually. One policy shift, the local content legislation. So the future, one in which we can be a major player in fertilizer, global LNG demand. And let's look at global LNG demand, because people don't speak about this opportunity, and it's linked to our tourism. How do we use non-tourism product, if you want to put it that way, to attract tourism? And there's a simple formula I think we can work around. When you look at LNG, the global LNG demand will rise by more than 50% by 2040. 50% by 2040. To reach approximately 660 million tons annually by 2040. But importantly, 40% of the world's cruise market share belongs to the Caribbean. 40%. All the cruise liners are now moving towards LNG as their source of fuel. This means that in 2023, 13 million cruise tourists passed through the Caribbean. Financially, the global cruise industry is projected to generate more than $30 billion in revenue by 2024. So what about if we create here in Guyana a refueling hub? Or we partner with Barbados or DR in integrating our infrastructure so that Guyana is a supplier, but importantly, we negotiate Guyana as a must-stop destination for cruise liners. Now, the argument in the cruise industry is that very limited local revenue is generated from cruise liners, because today, cruise liners sell most of the tour packages on the cruise itself. So even that businesses, so we're thinking this thing through. But Guyana is different. Why is Guyana different? Because our product is not concentrated in a small area in the capital. Our product is nature and eco-based, so that the traffic that will be generated will be completely different, and the type of tourists that will be attracted will be completely different. And there lies an important and tremendous opportunity for us. So, I have kept you long enough. I still have a lot more to tell you. But I would pause here. I would pause here, and I would want you to know everything in life is not perfect. You know, one of a movie I enjoy was the Marigold Hotel, the first one. So the group of tourists went to the hotel and nothing was working. And the young boy went to them and said, "Don't worry," the Indian guy, "don't worry. In the end, everything will be all right. And if it is not all right, it is not the end as yet." So there will be challenges. But be assured that we are working to overcome these challenges. We are working to create an environment that would continue to evolve in a way to better serve you, better serve investors, the citizens of the world, our citizens, and the citizens of this region. Perfection is not what we are seeking. What we are seeking is to develop a system that works, that delivers, that is sustainable, and one that brings us closer together as partners. Welcome to Guyana. Thank you very much. Before I close, let me congratulate the Secretariat of the Energy Conference, Mr. Tony White, and your team, and all the sponsors for making this possible. And you would be pleased to know that the operations were primarily, mostly, implemented by a team of women who were the managers. Very proud of these young Guyanese women who showed resilience and who would have helped us to achieve this success. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
You may have your seats again, please. Thank you very much, President Ali, for your presentation. I just want to remind, though, that jokes are my department, and I get concerned when people start encroaching on my territory, and we may have to have some discussion about this. Just before we take our break today, we have a very important activity that we'd like you to witness and participate in. In Kiana's remarks, she did talk about a number of the innovations that have been brought to the Energy Conference this year. One of them was an essay competition to allow our younger people to start participating in the energy conversations. And today we have the winners in 3 categories of the essay competition, and we want to provide the prizes to those winners. The first category of prizes will be awarded by Mr. Ian Lewis, who's the marketing director of one of the sponsors, One Communications. So I'd like to ask Ian to come up real quick. I'm advised that he is nearby. And while Ian is coming, I want to ask the 3rd place winner in that category, Rupchan Donwa, to come forward. And the 2nd place winner is Zavi Bishop from Marian Academy. And the 1st place winner is Muzamil Mohammed from the Bishop's High School. So let's get Rupchan Donwa from Christchurch Secondary to come up. Rupchan, come up. Followed by Zavi Bishop from Marian Academy, and then Muzamil Mohammed from the Bishop's High School. There he is. He's coming. And then in a moment, we'll ask Dr. Ali to present the winners in category 2, so please stand by. Thank you. Thank you, Ian. Mr. President, if I could have your assistance, please. Could we get Lenicia Walren from the Brickdam Secondary School, third place in Category 2. Lenicia. Anaya Benjamin, second place from Queens College. And Michael Jardine from the West Demerara Secondary School. Come. Go on the other side. There you go. And now I'd like to invite Mr. Anthony J. White, the chairman of the Guyana Energy Conference and Supply Chain Expo, to present the prizes in Category 3. It's beginning to sound like a hurricane. There's a special note that the first prize winner in this category also gets a $10,000 scholarship. Yeah, I was waiting for the president's staff to recover. This prize, this scholarship, is presented compliments of our chairman, Mr. Anthony J. White. So let's start with the third place winner, Angelia Prasad of Queens College. And if Shekinah Yorick could start making her way, please. Oh, there she is. She's coming from a long way. And let me just ask Madeline Suharsono, if I got the pronunciation right. Did I get it right? I didn't. That's why I didn't win the prize. You ought to be bright to do this. So this is Shekinah Yorick from Bishop's High School, second place winner. And this is Madeline Suharsono, the first prize winner in Category 3. That includes the $10,000 scholarship. The Bishop's High School, no, St. Rose's High School. St. Rose's High School. Madeline Suharsono, St. Rose's High School, first prize, Category 3, $10,000 scholarship. Compliments, Anthony J. White. Just a little inside secret, I've never seen Tony on stage. He only came because he had to give away money. I need to pay attention to that in the future and organize some things. Ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of this formal opening ceremony, but not to the end of formal openings for today. We now have the formal opening of the Expo is going to take place at the entrance of the Expo Village. I think the weather has held. We've been worried about that. So what I'd like to ask you to do is to remain in your seats. The President and his party, members of Cabinet, Diplomatic Corps will leave. Our dignitaries in the white chairs on this side will also leave with them. Once they've cleared the stairs, we'll invite the rest of you to go down. Just hold for a moment, though. We're asking the media to get into position. If you could leave now, and there are guides on the way who will get you to the media platform for the photography for the opening.
Conversations there. Really interesting conversations there happening with His Excellency Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali Makela. And what we saw just before leaving the auditorium there was the donations, rather the awards being given to children because of their participation in the essay competition.
Yes, to me it's just a manifestation of the fact that this conference, of the commitment, I should say, that it places on including youths in this sector. You know, we're going to have a forum on Friday where university students and all the manner of youth can come in and sit in with the Vice President and have a really frank discussion on where we are and where we need to be. I believe the folks are heading down from main auditorium to do the ribbon cutting, which will happen outside. The weather has not been too kind, but it seems to be clearing up, and I think they're going to head over to the site to cut that ribbon. But before they get there, we heard a lot of really thought-provoking presentations this morning. We heard from the Prime Minister of Qatar. We heard from Ivan Duque, the former president of Colombia.
From green to black. No,
yes,
sorry, green is the new black.
Green is the new black.
Green is the new black. Yeah.
To me, that just really resonated. The importance of placing your energies and thoughts and commitment and priority in conservation and meshing that with developing your sources, and it really comes it really brings into focus the role of the LCDS and already what we're doing in terms of biodiversity protection, conservation, utilizing our resources to get more resources while also still making good on global environmental commitments. We heard a lot of good thoughts as well from President Ali, who just closed off the first session, and he spoke at length about the use of artificial intelligence, AI, and incorporating that into the technological diversification that's happening in Guyana. You know, AI has been around for some time, but really within the last 2 years, we really saw a huge advancement of it. You know, a lot of people use ChatGPT and all manner of artificial intelligence software to streamline their work. We see here President Ali exiting, well, he's now in the corridor.
Making his way out.
Yes, making his way out to
the
ribbon cutting site, which is just outside of the Marriott, leading to the exhibition center.
And you can see a number of people also that are following the president and making while he heads down to the ribbon cutting area to make sure that the ceremony there is opened, and as a matter of fact the exhibition is open so that the public can have an opportunity to see what is available there. But in the president's speech there were a number of things that were covered as well, including the government's investment in healthcare.
Yes.
And somebody may ask, why is that important, you know, in an energy conference environment? And now we'll take you over to Lyndon, who is going to be taking us over from here. President Ali, they're making his way to the area in which the ribbon cutting ceremony will happen. Of course, he's doing that in collaboration with His Excellency, the 54th President of the Dominican Republic, His Excellency Luis Abinader. Of course, they're going to do that together. You see very close to His Excellency's Prime Minister, Brigadier Retired Mark Phillips, who happens to have under his portfolio the energy sector and who is responsible for ensuring that important projects such as the gas to energy project comes to fruition. Of course, as we were mentioning, if you are now joining us, we are on the sidelines of the Guyana Energy Conference and Supply Chain Expo here at the Marriott Hotel in Kingston. His Excellency Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali has just delivered the keynote address, Michaela, sharing with us a number of thematic areas that are of key focus for his government, including healthcare, education,
Yes.
and of course the incorporation of AI
Yes.
into the work that we do here in Ghana.
A big part of it too is also incorporating the use of AI into the education sector. The president alluded to the fact that it wants to use AI to create programs that are tailored to the student. Let's say, for instance, you are faced with a challenge in a particular area. It's important that going forward, the government wants to utilize AI to create very unique programs that are tailored to getting that child up ahead. So here we are now at the ribbon cutting here at the Guyana Energy Expo and Supply Chain Conference. President Ali is joined by the President of the Dominican Republic.
And there we have it.
There we
the
have it.
ribbon is cut.
Yeah.
And so the exhibition center, the expo is now open, ready and available for members of the public, of course, to come and visit and see what is on show. Michaela, you made a very important point, that this expo is more than just displaying what these companies have to offer, but it also gives us the opportunity as Guyanese to find out how we can partner,
Yes.
how we can support, how we can get involved in some way or the other with the work that these companies are doing as well.
Another highlight of President Ali's speech this morning was the importance of partnerships. He said that we are where we are because of the ties and the partnerships that we have developed with our bilateral partners, with the business community, with experts, with stakeholders. And so
year that we're at currently is a little bit different this year. A little different this year with the projects here in Guyana, and President Ali and the President of ExxonMobil Guyana giving the President of the Dominican Republic a tour and a little bit of insight into the different blocks, oil blocks that are being developed by ExxonMobil and its partners. And like I mentioned, you do have in this tunnel a number of projects being highlighted here in Guyana. You're talking about diversifying the energy sector, projects particularly as it relates to the housing sector. I also see the non-oil economy being on showcase as well here in the tunnel, as the officials make their way down to the back where you have the exhibitors on display, stopping to take a look at Silica City. Silica City is a brainchild of President Ali, and creating a modern city and we know Silica City is located along the Linden-Soesdijk Highway, and of course a city that will incorporate all the things that President Ali spoke about a little while ago in his address, particularly the use of technology and AI, and the government's quest to ensure that AI and technology becomes a major part of the development and the transformation of Guyana. Know that there are immense opportunities that are available here in Guyana because of the oil and gas industry, but the opportunities are not just limited to oil and gas. You're talking about opportunities in agriculture, opportunities in infrastructure, venturing into new opportunities and emerging markets as well that the president mentioned in terms of the financial market. And President Ali really driving home the fact that Guyana is certainly positioning itself as a hub. You know, the initiative, which is the 25 by 2025, that is an initiative that's on the front burner, but how technology can be used to ensure that that particular initiative as well is being capitalized on and expanded. The use of AI, encouraging our young people through the different programs. So the Ministry of Education, investments being made in education, investments being made in healthcare. You spoke about the creation of vaccines. We're going to play a major role in creation of vaccines here, animal vaccines, so to speak, and that is done in partnership with the private sector. And of course, rolling that out to the wider region once it is developed. They're making their way into the Marriott Hotel, where there are other booths there as well. So the folks will get a chance to interact with some of those booths that are in that particular area as part of the exhibition. But just to give you a sense of some of what was said earlier, President Luis Abinadel of the Dominican Republic, he spoke about the giving updates, so to speak, as it relates to the oil refinery and the manufacturing plant for fertilizers. That's a partnership with the government of Guyana and the government of the Dominican Republic. And like I mentioned, using advanced technology in agriculture, and that will aid towards the food security goals, not just of Guyana, but the region by extension. President Abinadel also mentioned the fact that Dominican Republic is positioning itself as a transatlantic hub and sees itself as a partner with Guyana in the fields of agriculture and energy. And particularly as it relates to energy, and we know that Guyana continues to expand in the energy sector, but Dominican Republic will see itself playing a major role as it relates to the development of that oil refinery and how that will be able to benefit both countries, but by extension the wider region. President Ali spoke about the demand for energy as particularly as it relates to LNG and cruise liners here in the region. That is the number one fuel being used, and once Guyana and the DR can be able to develop an oil refinery, obviously that will bring in significant amount of finances for the region, for Guyana, for the Dominican Republic, but by extension the region, as we continue to tap into all those opportunities that are available. Today, the folks have made their way back into the Marriott Hotel, so what we can do is we're going to toss it back to Shaquan and to Ms. Michaela, who...
As you can see, where His Excellency Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali is touring the exhibition site. Of course, having a conversation now with one of the exhibitors there. I believe that it is ExxonMobil. I was correct. It is ExxonMobil. The president is now having a conversation with them. ExxonMobil has been a specific partner in this conversation.
Exxon has been the premier partner for the energy conference, in addition to the other co-ventures from the Stabroek block, which include CNOC and Hess. But in addition to those companies, you'll find other pouring and oil and gas companies operating in Guyana, but also the ministries. I believe Lyndon said there are over 100 exhibitors.
Yeah, 119 I'm told.
Was almost 200 exhibitors, including government agencies, those companies operating in Guyana, where you can find more information on the products and services that these institutions offer. But like I said in the opening of our speech, even possibilities for jobs. So that's an important aspect, I believe, for the youths who are interested in coming over to the conference. Yes.
Yeah, and that's why we will encourage our young people to come over, because it's important that you have... sometimes we live in a box, Michaela, and if we allow ourselves to remain in that box, there are a lot of opportunities that we will continue to be ignorant about.
Yes.
The Energy Conference and Supply Chain Expo is one of those opportunities where you have the opportunity to step outside of that box. And so coming to the Expo, listening to the suppliers in the oil and gas sector, listening to those companies that support the work of the oil and gas industry in the form of rigs and machinery and stuff like that, you have an opportunity to see where you can fit in and how you can contribute to Guyana's continued development as well.
You know, a really big highlight for me at this conference every year are the networking events, the sideline networking events, where you meet people from all across the globe with all sorts of backgrounds and skills and knowledge and expertise, and you get to talk with them and you trade knowledge, and it really places you in a better position to upskill yourself. On the concept of youths, just to remind our listeners, there will be a youth forum happening this Friday with the Vice President here at the conference. If you don't have a big fancy pass, that's okay.
That's okay.
You are still entitled to come and visit us. It's really important to be a part of the discussions, and I don't think you'll have a better opportunity than to be in the room with the Vice President and listen and get an idea, a chance to exchange ideas for the prosperity of the nation. On screen, you are seeing President Ali with the President of ExxonMobil Guyana, Alistair Routledge, along with some other dignitaries who are conducting a quick site visit to the exhibition center here at the Guyana Energy Conference and Supply Chain Expo. We just concluded the opening ceremony, so and we just cut the ribbon. So here we are at the exhibition center, where there are 190 plus companies and agencies and institutions that are displaying their goods and services, and when you get a chance, we really encourage you to come and check them out. Also, there are a lot of free goodies. I like the goodies.
That is very important. I'm happy that you mentioned that. I saw on screen just a few moments ago the Minister of Natural Resources, the Honorable Vikram Bharat. They are also there with His Excellency. The President spoke extensively as well in his address about making sure that our healthcare industry and our healthcare sector rather is up to standard, is modern, and continues to evolve.
Is what the President said,
and continues to evolve with international standards.
Yes.
And so he spoke about 12 new hospitals that are expected to come on stream in 2028. He spoke about the work that is ongoing with Mount Sinai, an international firm that is helping Guyana to develop its first ever patient record system, as well as a number of other initiatives that they are collaborating on. He spoke extensively about the telemedicine program that is bringing quality health care and health services to the people living in the hinterland regions. All of this coming together to play a role in making sure that our healthcare sector is up to standard and up to par with that of any other country around the world. And it's important that that happens, Michaela, because if we're going to invite all of these investors, potential investors, they want to make sure that their employees are safe. They want to make sure that they themselves are in a safe and secure country, and that is a part of it as well.
Yeah, so the President, it's really refreshing to hear him every time he speaks, because he really outlines very boldly the transformative vision that he has for Guyana, and already we're seeing the fruits of those labor. This morning, the President also spoke about investing in capacity, like the human resources, and getting the training centers up to also a world-class potential. You know, already we started work at the Guyana Technical Training Center up there in Barbies. We've trained Guyanese who are working on the FPSOs. We already had a first batch. The second batch, I believe, already started at the beginning of this year. So the road ahead is promising, and I'm really excited to see where we go from here.
Yeah, just to remind you, if you're going to be checking us out, checking out the Energy Conference and Supply Chain Expo, you would want to know as well that on day 2 there are a number of other important speakers that you can expect. In fact, starting day 2 off with the keynote presentation is Vice President Dr. Bara Jagdeo, who will deliver the keynote address in tomorrow's, in day 2, which is February 19. You can also expect to hear from Winston Brassington, who is heading the task force responsible for delivering the gas to energy project. You will hear from Alistair Routledge, who is president of ExxonMobil Guyana as well. Who else do we have?
Well, before we move to day 2, I just wanted to let the listeners know or get an idea of what's left for today.
Yeah,
so we're supposed to receive a presentation from the former Secretary of State and former Director of the CIA of the United States of America, Mr. Michael Pompeo. We have J. Hunter Farris, the Senior Vice President of Deepwater at ExxonMobil. Sir Paul Collier, who's a Professor of Economics at the University of Oxford. I'm really interested to see what Professor Collier has to say. We're also going to get a keynote speech from Amy Myers-Jaff, the Director of Energy and Climate Justice at the University School of Professional Studies in the U.S. and some other really, really important presentations. I'm also looking forward, quite importantly, to the Women in Leadership.
I was just about to talk about that. Go ahead.
There's a Women in Leadership panel happening this afternoon featuring Minister Sonia Parag, who is the Minister of Local Government and Regional Development, Minister Suzanne Rodriguez, who is the Minister within the Ministry of Housing, Charlene Siegel-Lam, who is the Managing Director of SLB Guyana, Trinidad, Suriname, Haley Gilbert, the Supply Chain Manager of ExxonMobil Guyana, and this will be moderated by a woman I am quite fond of, Dr. Pradeepa Bolanat, who has a really important role in marketing and working and making the policy with it as regards to the low carbon development strategy. Yes.
Yeah, and so that's going to be a very, very interesting conversation. And even after that, we can expect even more exciting and interesting insightful presentations. We expect the president of the Afri-Exim Bank, a bank that has supported and continues to support Guyana's development through access to financing, and the Caribbean at large. You have the president there, President Benedict Oramo, who will be speaking. You can expect the World Bank representative in Guyana here, Ms. Deletta Doretti. She is going to be having that conversation on financing sustainable development, and that is going to be moderated by a representative from Hess Corporation. And even this afternoon, we can hear from Vice President Dr. Bar Jagdeo. So Dr. Jagdeo as well is going to be very a focal point of this year's energy conference. It's important that we have that, as he is considered to be, and I believe he is the chief policy advisor and chief policy maker when it comes to the oil and gas sector. And so it's important that he plays that role as well.
If you are just joining us, we are live here from the Guyana Marriott Hotel. Myself and Shaquan are here, just giving you guys some highlights on the Guyana Energy Conference and Supply Chain Expo. We just concluded our opening session. We cut the ribbons, and on screen you will see President Ali with President of the Dominican Republic, former President of Colombia, Ivan Duque, and a number of other dignitaries and company reps. Even Mike Pompeo, he's right there in the corner, former Secretary of State to the U.S., and they're touring right now the exhibition center here at the hotel, which currently accommodates more than 190 exhibitors from companies to government agencies and other institutions. Yes.
Yeah, that's definitely happening there. Of course, the president has delivered his keynote address already. We can expect in the coming days to hear from Vice President Dr. Bar Jagdeo, as you've mentioned, but also Prime Minister Brigadier Retired Mark Phillips, in terms of focusing on energy and how Guyana is working towards establishing a very strong energy mix, Michaela, making sure that we are not solely dependent on fossil fuel type forms of energy. We know that the gas to energy project is the primary, secondary source as of now, but we know that it has been in conversation and continues to be in conversation of bringing to reality the Yamila Falls hydropower project as well. And we've seen minor forms of that major hydro project at Mokomoko, and there is one currently being constructed at Kumu, both in Region 9, to support the electricity drive and the energy drive here in Guyana too.
In addition to that, over the next 5 years, I believe, the GEA is looking to add into the energy mix about 30 megawatts of solar power. You know, Guyana gets a lot of sun, and these days we hardly seem to get rain, save for today when it rained a lot. But the government is looking to forge out that renewable energy subsector, like you said, with hydropower, solar power. The gas to energy project is not renewable energy per se, but it's still very clean, it's still very reliable, and it's far cheaper than what we're paying for the heavy fuel oils that we currently utilize. In addition, there are some interests to explore the wind generation market. I know some investors had expressed some interest in getting something like that off of the ground. So it's really good to see the interest, not only from the government's perspective, but also from potential investors who see the opportunity for them to expand in Guyana and really contribute to the energy generation here.
Yeah, and the private sector has spoken extensively as well. The president has spoken extensively about the private sector's role in expanding and continuing or pushing Guyana along that development trajectory, even mentioning that the private sector can be seen as the engine of growth for our country. And we know, I know that I've seen representatives from the Private Sector Commission here, if not the chairman of the Private Sector Commission himself, Mr. Kamal Singh, and a number of other representatives who are part of this conversation in building us forward and making sure that we can move along the path that we want to move along as well.
It seems like the president and his entourage are making their way back into the main building, up to making a quick visit at the main exhibition hall here at the Guyana Marriott Hotel for the Energy Conference. I imagine we'll see him just behind us. Oh, I think I see them already.
Yeah, he's already passing.
So I believe they're heading back upstairs to continue the discussions here for the Energy Conference. It's really exciting to see how many people flock around the president. He just has a certain aura about him, and it's very demanding.
Very demure.
He's just very commanding.
Yeah. So of course, as Michaela said, His Excellency Dr. Mohamed Irfan and his team making their way back to the auditorium where the energy conference will continue. Michaela, you've mentioned a number of other speakers that we should anticipate today.
Yes.
We should anticipate, as we are already anticipating, that Women in Leadership panel. We will see several ministers of government who are women, as well as leaders in the private sector as well, come together to talk about how women can continue to be involved in the growth and development of our energy sector.
As soon as we get back into the main conference hall, we are supposed to be hearing a presentation from former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. This is not Mr. Pompeo's first visit to Guyana. If you would recall, about 3-4 years ago, he made his inaugural visit, and he's been here since, which in itself shows the commitment that both Guyana and the U.S. have in strengthening their bilateral ties. I believe the president has stopped here in the foyer to do some brief interviews with the media. Speaking of the media, I entered the media center this morning, and I couldn't help but notice a lot of foreign press here. So it's really good to see the sort of attention, international attention again, is getting for this particular event and for other events as well.
Yeah, no, it's really big. Ensuring that what we are doing here in Guyana can be seen around the world is important for us as we continue to build out our country. We mentioned at the beginning of our program that in the energy sector and for our oil and gas industry to do what it's supposed to do in terms of developing our country and supporting the development of our country, there has to be a strong investment in infrastructure. And this year, like many other years, we've seen a heavy investment in infrastructure with an allocation of $209.3 billion being allocated in infrastructure. And so we are also preparing, as you can hear probably in our background, the preparation of the recommencement of the energy conference and the panel. But right now His Excellency is engaging the media in a very intense way, I'm sure. I'm having that conversation with them before that recommences. So if you're just joining us, we are here on the sidelines of the Guyana Energy Conference and Supply Chain Expo. Of course, this is happening here at the Marriott Hotel in Kingston. We are now anticipating the recommencement of the ceremony, rather of the presentations for day one. As Michaela has pointed out, we expect Mike Pompeo to be the next voice you hear when the presentations recommence. But there are a number of other conversations that are going to happen today, leading all the way to February 21st on Friday.
Yes.
Where we'll also have, at least for me, that much anticipated youth forum chaired and headed by Vice President Dr. Marja.
Notwithstanding, just to change the conversation trajectory here, but notwithstanding the unfavorable weather, we're still encouraging you there at home and at the office and wherever else to visit the Conference Village and the Taste of Guyana, which are both set up at the Kingston Esplanade, where you can get to indulge yourself in all sorts of Guyanese cuisine. You can visit the Guyana shop where you will find locally produced products there at very affordable costs. It's important to offer these sort of services and goods, especially when we have so many dignitaries here in Guyana. It's important to get them involved in what Guyana truly is, and I think no better avenue, well, one of the better avenues should be our cuisine. So when you get a chance, do visit it. It is hosted by the Ministry of Agriculture. It's Guyana Marketing Corporation.
Correct.
And other local suppliers from Guyana itself.
Yeah, definitely. All of that happening here at the Marriott Hotel and in the vicinity of the Marriott Hotel as well. Referencing the Conference Village. Michaela, it's been a pleasure spending this time with you here for the last hour maybe or so.
Yes.
That we've been.
It feels longer, but sure.
It feels much longer. But we have really enjoyed our time here. We want to of course say that you should come out and visit and make sure that you do that as soon as possible. With that being said, stay tuned to the National Communications Network as we continue to bring you updates from all that's happening here at the Marriott Hotel at the Guyana Energy Conference and Supply Chain Expo. My name is Shaquan Gill.
My name is Michaela Prince.
And we're saying bye-bye for now. Take care.